Good evening. My name is Arlene Miller, and it's my privilege to welcome you to this edition of Our Town. Today I have a very special guest. Her name is Andrea Chasen. Welcome.
It's great to be here with you, Arlene.
Yeah, it's my first time having Andrea as our guest here, and the reason she's here is because she's a member of a special energy task force, and she'll explain that to you better than I can, with the town of Longmeadow, and she has a program she wants to explain to the residents, which is an opportunity for some of our residents to save on their energy costs, save on their energy consumption and waste. So
yes, it's a wonderful opportunity for us. But let me give you a little bit of background of the Longmeadow Energy Task Force, which came into being with full select board approval in 2016. And it was a combination of the select board and the school committee getting together saying, how can we look at combining our efforts around promoting renewable energy, decreasing the use of fossil fuels, and taking an overview of the community at large, so that we are meeting the charge under the Green Communities Act and supporting the work that we have as a green community. We are a green community, and we have been since 2008, and we get funding from the state to support a number of activities.
But it's not just to feel good,
no,
produce less energy. It's actually, we'll save the town money. In the long run, we're also trying to save the town.
Well, interestingly enough, if I can give you one little anecdote before I jump into this one, let me put a plug in for going to see An Inconvenient Sequel with Al Gore, because there's a lot of great information.
Just
but he
interviews
the mayor of a small town in Georgetown, in Texas, called Georgetown. They are 100% renewable energy, and the mayor, who is a deep rooted Republican, turns to Al Gore and says, we did this because we are saving hundreds of thousands of dollars. Mm-hmm. So the town, part of the mission of this task force is to look at ways that are going to both improve the efficiency and use of energy in the town, and the benefits from that are saving money, so that when the town comes before us with a request for a budget item, we're actually starting to see savings along the way.
For instance, the new DPW building, they're spending some effort to make that as energy neutral as possible. So that's, and that's all part of that, that conversation.
Yeah, and it's a conversation that we need to be having around anything that we're doing in this town, whether you're in the public sector or the private sector, and whether you're a business or whether you're residential. Because ultimately, while it is a good feeling to know that you're doing something positive to help the planet, it's also a wonderful thing to be able to put extra money in your own pocket.
Sure, absolutely.
And so the two really combine very nicely, and this is a great opportunity to do that. Let me, as an aside, say that the Energy Task Force also monitors the use of the green community funds, and also looks at opportunities that we can use that money that we get from the state to enhance programs here in the town.
What sort of things do you want to mention? One or two things that you're kind of watching?
Yeah, right now we're using the first go-around of the money that we received to
almost $400,000?
157.
Oh, okay, it wasn't, okay.
And we need to spend that in order to get the next round.
Right.
We're using that to make the DPW more energy neutral. We've also talked about using it for converting street lamps and stoplights into LED, and that actually is a huge savings for the town because we spend so much money on energy consumption there. You know, and within the public buildings that we have, the schools, the town hall, the police department, the fire department, we're asking them questions about how we can help them support their energy conservation, which, again, saves the town money.
Sure.
So
it's great. So it's a whole other layer. It's not a big committee, I understand, but I know you do meet and aggressively trying to make a difference for the town. So.
And this is really a great opportunity because it's a committee that has run a little bit under the radar.
I would say very under the radar.
As compared to things like the Recycling Center or DPW or anything else. This is a committee that really is putting qualitative thought into how we can hook into solar, what renewables we have that we can take advantage of, and is trying to really help make a difference and move us forward as a town.
That's great.
So one of the things that I do want to talk about, aside from the history of the Energy Task Force, which is a relatively new committee, is the fact that we have been approached by the Grinspoon Foundation to support some of the work that they're doing. The Grinspoon Foundation has decided that one of the things that they're putting their time, money, and I was going to say energy, but that's
resources.
Not a pun intended.
Resources,
thank you. Behind is looking at how to improve the residences in the communities. And
in terms of energy efficiency.
In terms of energy efficiency. And they contracted about a year ago with an entity out of MIT that was doing thermal imaging to take a look at the Pioneer Valley, and they identified about 8 or 9 communities up and down the valley, Longmeadow being one of them, where they were going to send a car around, kind of like the Google car. It's a car that goes around and takes pictures of all the buildings in the community, and including the homes, and looks at where there are potential leaks.
Heat loss.
And heat loss. Leaks being the source. So you see a red light happening with the heat loss, right, but also other energy components around that. But it's mostly focused on heat loss. And they have identified about 25,000 residences up and down the valley, and in Longmeadow there are 2,100.
Let me back up. So this car has already done this.
They have
gone up and down. Do they need permission to do that, or they just sort of do this? It's kind of weird.
Well, it is a little bit weird, but in fact these are public streets, and it's the town, the select board thought long and hard about it.
Oh, this has been vetted by the select board.
It was vetted initially by the select board, and there were a number of concerns raised. But again, they're doing nothing more than taking pictures along the street, and that's public access on public access ways. They are not sharing that with the public. What they are doing is taking 2,100 homes in Longmeadow, as well as up and down the valley. They have a certain number as well there. And they're sending cards to those homes saying that they've been identified as potentially being a beneficiary of a specialized audit, energy audit that they can take advantage of. Nobody's forcing them to do that.
So to be clear, we have about 5,500 homes in Longmeadow. So you're suggesting, if I'm understanding you correctly, that they did them all. And
I don't think they went up and down every street, but they did the majority of them.
Okay, so many of the houses were done, and this is 2,100 that they feel would benefit the most from this program.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, and the program is bringing in an auditor.
So if I'm identified, I'm going to get a card in the mail.
You're going to get a card in the mail.
Get a personal, not all 5,500 homes in Longmeadow.
No,
just these 2,100.
Just 2,100 homes, and it's going to have a picture of a house that's got red heat loss coming out of it, and it's going to say the Grinspoon Foundation Energy Save has identified you as potentially getting the benefits of an audit that will allow you to weatherize better and look at the possibility of creating more energy efficiency so that you will be reducing your heating and air conditioning
Okay,
costs.
so what is the foundation paying for? Is it paying for the audit, or is it paying for the stuff, the insulation?
Well, that's
Or
a good
both?
question. Okay, so what it is doing is contracting with Mass Save's program.
So it's going to be
piggyback.
partnering with Mass, because
It's
already there is that.
Right.
And many of us have done that.
Right. I was going to say anyone in the Commonwealth can call Mass Save and say, I'd like to have an energy audit. You've done it.
I've done it twice.
And I've done it 3 times, and each time it has improved my energy efficiency.
Right.
The first time we had the benefit of extra insulation in our attic, and it reduced our energy costs by more than 40% in the first year alone.
Yeah.
So, and the other benefit with Mass Save, and this is the Grinspoon Foundation really pushing them to get out there, and I'll explain a little bit about that in a moment, is that they have money, incentives, rebates that go along with all of the...
Part of that carbon credit, green community money stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And we've been putting money into this trust fund as a Commonwealth for years. So that when I did my energy audit and then was told I needed insulation, I think we paid 25% of the overall cost.
Right.
75% was picked up by the state's Mass Save program. Since then, I mean, let me just turn it back to you. What did you get in the way?
We got, one time we did get insulation, but not in our attic. We had insulation in our attic. We got it in our basement. Pipes and
they wrapped the pipes.
And we had a crawl space, and they insulated the bottom of the crawl space, the top of the crawl space, and we got a lot of lights, big
CFLs at that time, and now LEDs.
At that time in our basement where we have a lot of those kind of lights, it really made a big difference.
Yeah, it's amazing what we can take advantage of as.
And I can't remember how much we paid versus them, but it was a fraction certainly of the. It was very beneficial in terms of.
So as I understand it with Mass Save, you're not going to pay for the new light bulbs that they're going to put in. They're going to replace all incandescent lights with LEDs. If you have a CFL, they're not going to change that. They'll let you keep that one.
Now this is Mass Save you're talking about, not the Grinspoon.
So, but one of the problems with Mass Save has been that very few people have gone after the benefits of it, and so the Grinspoon Foundation was trying to figure out what are the barriers. Why is the Commonwealth, which has this incredible benefit, showing such a poor response to actually making use of both the energy audits and then the incredible rebates, incentives, programs to help with heating, cooling, weatherization, appliance changing, becoming more energy efficient in general. And so they recognize that one of the areas, and this is as I understand it from the consultants from the Grinspoon Foundation, has said that
they came to your.
They spoke with members of our task force, said that one of the barriers for people getting to Mass Save is, one, we don't continue to push it. They don't really advertise it.
I think it may be with your bill occasionally, and
how many,
people don't look at the bill inserts.
You just look at the amount that you have to pay, and you throw out the rest of the stuff. And then the second is that there are time constraints that create problems with getting the audit in, and so they were looking to streamline, the Charitable Foundation was looking to streamline those two barriers. One, information directly to individuals to say, you can qualify for this, which is part of the reason for that original imaging of residences. And the second one is to say, let us be a little bit more aggressive and then send you information to say you do have a problem. You may want to consider
customized information.
Yeah, well, you don't get customized in the sense
until you get the audit.
Until you get the audit. Yeah. So
I think it's important for people to understand that when because you get this, we get so much of that stuff in the mail all the time.
Right.
That this is going to say that it's a legitimate offer.
Right.
And it's a local. I mean, he lives in Longmeadow. This is a guy who's really trying to do good.
Right.
With his foundation.
Harold Grinspoon has been heavily focused on energy conservation for a long time. His company runs all sorts of apartments and businesses. It's a management company, and they've benefited heavily from all of this. And so now he wants to give back to the community. And I mean, they're not going to replicate Mass Save. They want to push people to use the Mass Save. So when you have the audit done, you're going to get an organization that has already been vetted by Mass Save as a potential contractor to do the audit, to come and do the work, whatever's been recommended. So it could be that you just basically need to caulk around the windows, or you need, as I did, extra insulation in the attic, or as you did, wrapping the ducts. But there will be something very uniquely customized to you in your home that's going to allow you to get the benefits, and you will see it almost immediately in your energy bills.
Right. So what's the timeline of this? That's why I was confused about.
So within the next month, people will start seeing...
So during the month of October?
Well, actually, I take it back. We're in September now.
We are.
Yes, so starting in September
It came
through
fast,
October,
didn't it?
I know, it's amazing. The summer's almost gone.
Yeah.
Starting within the next couple of weeks, people will start seeing these postcards.
So mid-September.
Yeah, mid-September, and it will continue. So they plan on getting this information out by the middle of October. So from mid-September to mid-October, 2,100 residents in Longmeadow
and many more up and down the valley.
Oh yes, will receive this postcard in the mail, and it should be a fairly significant one, and it will basically say, Energy Save, Grinspoon Foundation on the front. Please, let's make our residents consider the use of this, because their home has been identified as a potential beneficiary of the improvements that can be made around energy efficiency.
Right. But it's fair to say, I'll play devil's advocate, that many people, in not just that 2,100, would benefit from the Mass Save audit.
Oh yes.
So I'm figuring if some people are going to be watching you say this and say, wait a minute, I'd like to take advantage of that. So you're going to put this on your Facebook?
Yes. So Energy Task Force has a Facebook page, and it's called the Energy Task Force Longmeadow. Please go ahead and like us.
So do they get that through the longmeadow.org, or do they get that? How do you?
We created that
so
separately,
it's totally independent.
Independently. We have somebody on our committee who's brilliant about this, because I don't know how to do it. Liz Bone, she created it. Thank God for people who know what technology is.
Yes, it's that time of the
right, and so we are going to be putting this on the Longmeadow Facebook page, the Energy Task Force Facebook page, and it will be also on the Longmeadow website. And the Reminder's going to have, and the Longmeadow News are going to have press releases and information about this.
Yeah, I might suggest that if you can put something on during that month on the homepage, the longmeadow.org homepage, and Longmeadow Biz, because Jim Moran would do that for you.
Yes.
Just to draw people to your Facebook page.
That is a very good idea.
To get more information, because if it's getting to be cooler quickly.
Right.
And this is a great opportunity just to remind people not only about the Mass Save thing, but about this is a whole nother layer that can expedite the Mass Save audit, is what you're saying, I think.
Yes, well, yes. The auditors that are coming in through the energy program that Grinspoon has started up are people who will connect to the Mass Save program.
And what's it called exactly, his program?
His program is called, oh my God.
Well, his name, if they get the mailing,
it's literally called Energy Save, ENER-G. .save.
But his name is not on that.
It's in small caps. It says Grinspoon Foundation.
Okay, just to say, so people recognize what the connection, if they do get something, or if they see something on the website or in the newspaper.
Right, so that's why the G is prominent.
So what's the difference if I were to call Mass Save, or if I were to go through this program?
There really isn't going to be a tremendous difference for you.
Would it be faster to go through this program?
It potentially could be initially faster. But my last experience with Mass Save is that they are waiting for people to call them. And so
there isn't a real big delay.
There wasn't.
They're ready to go.
They really got in there fairly quickly. I think I called them, and within 2 weeks I had the energy audit done. And it was very comprehensive.
But then they need some time to come back and do some of the work. schedule it.
Yes, I mean, while they're there, interestingly enough for us, because we've already had 2 other ones, it was really just replacing power strips, much more efficient power strips, LED lights, and they said everything else looked pretty tight and weatherized. So we were good to go.
Yeah.
And they give you the report almost there. Now, in the situation where they're going to recommend for insulation, they're going to let you know the approximate area that you have to insulate and what it's going to cost and what the breakdown is going to be.
Who's paying what? How much they're
Right.
paying, how much you're paying.
Right. And if you are a low-income resident, and there are guidelines on the Mass Save website in terms of what qualifies for low income, there are additional financial benefits for anybody with low income. So if you're on a fixed income, if you are low income, Mass Save has really got programs that are going to help you and may enhance the amount of money that they're going to pay versus what you're going to have to lay out.
It's too bad you don't have a copy of it here to show us the postcard so people, I truly get, it's become the thing, that half page, it's about as big as a half a page of paper postcard. I must get 4, I mean, in a week I might have at least 10 of those things that come through for various cruises or this offer or that or political thing or whatever else it is. So I'm trying to brainstorm how people can just really. We should probably
put a picture of it on the.
That would be great.
Yeah, and we'll as a matter of fact, from here to the ears and fingers of Liz, we will get this information.
Good for you, Liz. Attention, attention.
Right, up there, so that there will be a picture of the card that's going to be coming along, and a connection to the Mass Save website as well, because they've got a great amount of information.
Well, that's good. So our purpose of our having this conversation today is that the September 15th date is coming up soon, next week. Next week. And we want to be sure that at least those 2,100, if not more people, understand that this is coming, this opportunity is out there. It'd be great if a lot of people took advantage of this opportunity.
Yeah.
It's not the town paying for anything. It's no cost out of your taxes. It's just a free.
It's
somebody trying to do something good for the town.
This is a benefit that we have as a resident of the state. So even if you're a renter, you can use Mass Save.
Well, you're talking about Mass Save, but this particular
particular benefit for the Energy Save coming from the Grinspoon Foundation is really going to help jumpstart a lot of people getting into the benefits of energy efficiency.
And if you get the card, it's sort of because they're seeing red lines on your house, so it's a red flag. And it's interesting to me. Do you know when they did the drive-by?
As I understand it, over the course of this past early spring. So not in the winter. I'm just curious how the imaging would work if they needed a cold night. It went at night.
So it had the particular
and they had.
So those are the cars I hear going down the street at night.
Yes,
middle of the night.
Could be Google Maps too, for all you know.
Yeah.
So yes, and it was just really a once through and looking at with an infrared, with whatever special technology they had. They weren't going into walls. They were looking at what was being emitted from a house in terms of energy loss.
Sure.
And they colored it in a way so that it looks like your house is
What's amazing
leaking red.
Right. What's amazing is there are so many little things we can do in so many different parts of our lives to make a difference. I mean, obviously I talk trash and recycling, and everybody thinks, oh, that's just a feel-good thing. Well, it really isn't. It saves town money, and it saves all these things. It fits into all the environmental, all the, problems and all that sort of thing. But this is another thing where people don't, you feel that little draft and you say, well, that's no big deal. I'll just put a towel in there or whatever. But you can fix that, and that could really save
The other thing is
money.
that this enhances the value of your property.
Sure.
If you go in and you insulate and weatherize and do things, you're taking care of your property, and so it is ultimately going to be something that's going to come back and enhance the value of your property should be going to sell.
Because and it doesn't take, it's not something you have to do like flowers, water them every week.
Right.
It's something you do, I know, seriously, you just do it and it lasts for a very long time. The benefit accrues over, I mean, it's a very long time. They're not saying you need to put solar panels on your roof. They're not saying you need to cut down trees or do this sort of thing. This is very user-friendly, very simple to do. It's everything, it's a win-win-win for everybody. And the money is already there because of the whatever, I don't know, the overarching legislation that the New England states and New York or whatever those states.
The regional, the nine states that are part of the regional initiative for reduction of carbon.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's I think part of this whole thing.
Yeah.
Where I know DEP gets a lot of money from that. This in Massachusetts because that funds a lot of the waste reduction programs, just because the same reason, because it's saving all of that.
And we're running out of landfills.
Well, all of the above.
Right.
So again, so Andrea, so your committee is ongoing.
It's ongoing,
and you meet regularly, and you're
minutes are posted, and
constantly looking at ways that the town can save money and be more energy efficient.
And if people have ideas, post them on the Facebook page. It'd be great. I mean, it'd be wonderful to have a conversation about this with the community. If they're seeing things that they think that we should be looking at, I would love to get that information back to our committee, and they are open. We do post when the meetings are happening.
Sure. This is another volunteer committee.
Another volunteer committee. If you don't have enough to do already in your life, or if you have too much, feel free to come on down.
But a great expertise and a lot of care going into it. I know it started, I think, as a committee with the school committee, and then it expanded to the town, which is appropriate because the town buildings, we do pay a lot of money to heat and take care of the town buildings. So
it's one of those huge fixed costs that the only way that we can ever reduce that is by becoming much more energy efficient.
But we're headed that way. We're working hard at that. So let's summarize, because we're...
Okay, so very quickly, let me just say that the Energy Task Force has vetted this program out of and the Select Board from the Harold Grinspoon Charitable Foundation. 2,100 people in Longmeadow are going to be...
Houses.
2,100 houses, thank you, not 2,100 people. 2,100 houses, residences, have been identified as beneficiary of calling, getting an audit, an energy audit.
They've already had a preliminary audit.
In a sense, yes.
Because the car went down the street. They've been identified through this thermal imaging as having wasting some heat.
As leaking a significant amount of heat compared to their neighbors, compared to other, what would be reasonable indexes. And so these homes, these 2,100 homes, will receive, starting next week, going through the month of October,
an invitation, essentially.
A postcard that is an invitation. And please don't throw out the postcard, read it, take a look at it, call the number, and get the potential audit taken place. It's free to you, no
Harmless,
cost.
Free, and beneficial.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to turn that down.
Sure. Well, thank you for taking the time to explain that to our audience.
I hope they understand it, and thank you for your questioning, because it helped direct me and keep me focused.
Good, that's my job. But Andrea Chasen, again, thank you for coming here to our town, and thanks for your work on the Energy Task Force for the town of Longmeadow. And to our residents, to the 2,100 lucky ones who are going to be getting this offer, keep an eye out for it, and if you have questions, their Facebook page will be made, that address will be made available on the longmeadow.org website, as well as they have a Facebook page, and you can figure out how to do that. Don't ask me, but you can figure that out. Great opportunity. I'm hoping you get a flood of action as a result of this.
It would really be fabulous.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll come back and do this again in another 6 months, and you can
see
say,
how
this is what happened.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Well, thank you, and thank you to our audience. And as it is starting to get cool, this is a nice time to be thinking about energy and warmth of your home before you turn the heat on, which it might be next week at the rate we're going. Soon. Usually by the 25th of September, ours is on, so I'm assuming it's coming. It's coming. Yeah, I don't know. Try to put it off as long as you can.
Right, absolutely. But, we just finished air conditioning. Who wants to run into heat?
Yeah, well, if you use it. But thank you again, and good night.
Thank you.